April 17th, and thank you once again for joining us. I thought that I would just share a little humor this morning. This was sent to me by one of my agent partners, and I thought it was very timely as we now have ended our longest ever enrollment period in the history of the universe. Now the fun begins, and I thought, again, this was appropriate that you know, now the people that have signed up are going to be utilizing their plan. They go in to the doctor and say, yep, they signed up for Obamacare, and the doctor has his little spin table of saying, yep, you're covered, or no, you're not. So although it feels like that sometimes, you know, there are ways to verify if your clients are covered, if the applications that you generated on the FFM were actually received by the carriers. And I would encourage you to definitely check all of your commission statements for any missing applicants, but I would also encourage you to reach out to your case managers, and if you are concerned about a particular person, you know, not receiving their cards or not having coverage or even a list, then get those to your case managers, and they can go directly to the carrier and see if they not only have received that application, but have you hooked up to that account so that you will ultimately get paid. So we don't have a lot to share today, but I wanted to at least, wanted to at least go through a couple of things. The special election forms, now that enrollment has officially closed on the 15th, the only way a person could get coverage inside or outside of the exchange would be with a special election and or a qualifying event. And there are carriers that have special election forms. Some are ingrained into the online systems, but I wanted to just kind of briefly touch on what carriers do have special election period forms if you're sending them into us. So Capital Blue Cross for individual health does not have a special election form created at this point. I don't believe they have it even in their plan to create that form. Central and Western Highmark Blue Shield, they do have a special election form. Each one has a separate form. Geisinger, they do have a special election form. Aetna, the qualifying events questions are asked on the paper application. NEPA, Blue Cross of Northeastern PA, does have a special election form, and UPMC and Independence Blue Cross, they have theirs embedded into the online application. So hope that helps. These are all available on our website, so if you are in need of one, just go to our website and grab them, or talk to your case manager and they'd be happy to send those over to you. Because now we are only going to enroll individual with a qualifying event, I thought again that it would be worth, I don't know what my system keeps doing, I apologize for that. I thought it would be worth reviewing the qualifying events. So a few examples are getting married, having a baby, adopting a child, or placing a child for adoption or foster care, moving outside your insurer's coverage area, gaining citizenship, leaving incarceration. I think that what you're going to find mostly is this bottom line where people are losing other health coverage. You know, if you are talking to, I apologize, I have no idea what's going on with this system, but if you're talking to somebody, to an employer, and their choice is to dissolve group coverage, that would create a qualifying event for, you know, for their employees. If, for instance, they're covered on an individual health plan now, for instance, with Health America One, if they are coming up for renewal, and the only option given on that individual health plan is to renew on a PPACA plan, then that is a qualifying event. So they're not locked into any particular carrier. They can search the options as if it was an open enrollment period. So just keep some of those things in mind. as you're coming across people inevitably that have missed the deadline and now are looking for coverage. So just, again, keep those items in mind so that when they come to you, you can offer insurance. If there is no qualifying event, and if your clients have missed the deadline, which is quite possible, then until November 15th of this year, there are very few options available to them. And the only options that you can at least secure coverage for them would be to go with a limited medical program. We have various ones here at URL. And if that's something that you feel comfortable in presenting to your clients and you feel that it's a right fit for them, then certainly contact Christy Saul, and she can talk for days about the limited medical programs that she offers. And again, for a lot of people it's a good fit because the alternative is zero coverage as opposed to at least capping the losses. Another option is short-term medical. We have varying short-term medical programs. Of course, Assurance offers a short-term medical plan for 31 days up to 12 months. Capital Blue Cross and Highmark Blue Shield and Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield have short-term medical products that are for sale now during this period as well. 31 days is the minimum amount of coverage up to 6 months. IHC, which is a private insurance company that will cover your clients from 31 days to 12 months. And there is a companion plan that actually offers the same levels of coverage, 31 days to 12 months. However, that particular plan offers a critical illness rider that even once the short-term medical is exhausted or terminated, that CI rider, critical illness rider, could actually continue as a standalone product. So that's something to keep in mind. Selling the limited medical plans or short-term medicals is not going to prevent your clients from getting penalized or taxed for the individual tax, but it is again at least going to give them some level of protection from total loss if a claim were to happen. Moving forward, again, as I mentioned last week, we're going to continue to talk about things that have changed during the week that I think it's important for you to know. But we're also going to be, talking again a little bit more about strategy and where your next opportunity lies. And, again, with moving forward, at least for this short amount of time, when your groups come up for renewal, that's a perfect opportunity to talk to them not only about their group health options, if they're on a non-PPACA plan and that particular carrier is going to allow grandmothering of those non-PPACA group plans, then you have a conversation with them, an opportunity to have a conversation with them talking about staying the course on their non-PPACA plan or looking at a PPACA plan or going with a defined contribution model, or in some instances, if it's the right choice, dissolving that group coverage and going for individual health insurance. So those are some of the opportunities that you might want to keep in mind moving forward. I still don't have anything in writing on details of carriers that are going to offer grandmothering of their individual and or group health plans, but it does look like, at least on the group side, the majority of carriers are more than likely going to offer some sort of grandmothering provision for the non-PPACA group health plans, and it looks like we'll find out more information possibly for renewals that would occur for either 6/1 or 7/1 or, again, moving forward. So we'll keep you informed as much as we can, but I wanted to at least tell you what I knew at this point. The next bullet point is for a special message, and I just think, it's been a really long haul for a lot of us. We've learned a lot, we've cried a lot, we've drank a lot, and a lot of gnashing of the teeth has gone on, but in all seriousness, I just want to thank each and every one of you for really, getting out there and embracing individual health insurance and submitting the business, choosing URL in which to submit that business. Your success is certainly my success, and let me tell you, you guys made me look really good, because the production that has come in from all of you and other agent partners has been phenomenal, and I just didn't want it to pass without saying thank you so much for all of the business that you chose to submit through URL. It's greatly appreciated, and again, thank you. So I wanted to open it up for questions at this point, but I also wanted to bring your attention, next Thursday we're still going to have our webinar, Thursday at 9:30, which is the 24th. And just a short note as well, back in February I was supposed to be on ABC 27 on the panel for Dennis Owens's, healthcare forum, the town hall in York, and that was actually rescheduled. That's going to be on tonight from 7:30 to 8 o'clock on ABC 27. If you can tune in, that would be great. If not, I'm sure you can find it on the web at some point, but wanted to mention that in case you had some time that, in your free time, that you wanted to hear more about healthcare, healthcare reform and everything that we have to talk about. So let's get to the questions. I don't know that we have many, but we will certainly try to answer all of them. Lori asks if Geisinger has a producer verification form, and that's a good point, Lori. Yes, indeed, Geisinger does have a producer verification form, and I will have Judy, your case manager, send that out to you. And just so everyone knows, there is a difference between a producer verification form and a special election form. The producer verification form is really, the only purpose of that is to serve as a BOR, if you will, for individual health insurance if a case was submitted and somehow you fell off the application and are not getting credit for that. So that's what the producer verification form is, and we'll get that out to you, Lori. Bill says, will we be required to go through additional training for 2015, similar to what Medicare requires? And that's a really good question, Bill, because at this point, my assumption is that, yes, there will be some additional level of certification or recertification to sell on the FFM, but at this point, no one really knows, or no one can answer that for me. We don't even know what the renewal process is going to be for all of the 2014 plans. So again, we're going to have to just wait that out. I can tell you for the individual plans that are sold this year for 2014, they will have a short contract year because all of the plans will renew, so that moving forward in 2015, all individual plans will follow a calendar year contract. So, again, we don't have details on what that renewal process looks like for individuals, but just so you're aware that it is a short contract year. And Bill also asks if there's any word on Highmark online applications. And I don't know exactly what you're asking for, Bill. I can tell you that the online system is not really working right now because of the special election forms. I was told earlier this week that not only are they working on the site, and I believe that it's very, very close to being fully functioning, but that they're also offering kind of like a direct enrollment to the FSM as well. So, we'll get you more information on that as it becomes available. But in the meantime, you can submit your applications to your case manager, and we'll get them online or emailed over to the underwriters on your behalf. And, Steve gave me a bit of technology advice, and I'll see if I can do that, Steve. said that if I'm switching screens, I should have 2 monitors, and that's a possibility. But, you know, I'm an old gal, so I don't know a lot about computers, as is clearly evident. Abby says, for a qualifying event of getting married, does that mean if a person on their parents' plan, if their person is on a parents' plan, can they apply for a new policy with their spouse once they are married, or does that just mean if you get married, you can add a spouse onto an existing plan? That means, well, I think the latter is the correct part, where if you get married, you can be added onto an existing plan. That's a no-brainer. That's a definite. I think where it comes in about getting married is if it alters your household size or household income, which it would, and possibly your household location, then that could be a qualifying event. So, you know, we'll get more details on that, Abby, but, you know, I would say if they just get married, that's not really going to be a qualifying event unless they're losing coverage or altering their household size. But I'll do a little bit more research on that as well, and I will get some additional clarification if it's out there to be had. Sean asks if short-term medicals are medically underwritten, and yes, to a certain extent they are. They still have those gatekeeper questions that you would have to answer. So if somebody is sick, obviously that's not going to be something that's an option for them, but at this point it's worth looking at to see if you can get them in. Sue says, can a person who has purchased a plan but estimated their income wrong and cannot afford the plan that they took change to a different plan with the same insurer? No, they can't. They can't make any changes to their existing plan outside of the open enrollment. If their income changes, they would have to, of course, notify the FFM, but that wouldn't give them an option to change to a different plan. Sean says, can you please explain the tax consequences and the downside of dissolving group coverage? Well, absolutely, and there are some, and that's why I wanted to caution you on the individuals that, and I told you that, you know, for the right group, if they want to dissolve coverage, then it's an option. But as Sean mentioned, there are some consequences. You know, first and foremost, that employer loses his or her write-off, business expense of the cost of employer coverage. So that's a big one, or could be a big one for many of the small employers out there. Additionally, one of the bigger concerns is that if an employer dissolves group coverage and goes the individual route, if he or she would want to hire a new employee, that new employee would not have an option of purchasing coverage. That's not a qualifying event. Now, in theory, everybody should already be covered, but we in the industry know that that's not the case. But that's certainly a downside of dissolving group coverage if that employer really is going to look at doing any hiring in the year of 2014. Mike says, any ideas on how verification will occur for an eligible plan, and how will the government know if I write a non-qualified short-term medical plan in the next 7 months or a qualified high-mark Blue Shield plan written before 5/1? Mike, I really don't know that. I know that when people file taxes, that is when the proof is going to be required. What sort of questions are going to be answered, or I'm sorry, asked to provide that proof, I don't know. I would find it very hard to believe that any insurance carrier would have to send out some sort of proof of coverage, but stranger things have happened too. So a little early to tell, but I do believe that it's going to be, you know, held, the proof is going to be held within, you know, on the onus of the tax preparer. So hope that helps answer your question. Tim says, for a person who qualifies for the special election period, how does the app submission and effective date work? Does the app have to be in by the 15th for the effective date, first of the next month? No. For a qualifying event, the person has to make application either on the exchange or off the exchange within 60 days of that qualifying event. So keep in mind that's 60 days before and 60 days after. Pardon me. In theory, the coverage is supposed to butt up against that termination date from their previous coverage. But we've not really tested all of that yet. I've heard from a couple people that, for instance, they had like a May 8th qualify, or they were losing coverage May 8th, and they went into the FFM and put in all the information that they're qualifying event or they're losing coverage May 7th, and the system essentially said to come back after the event, and that's what the health insurance marketplace worker told this agent partner of mine, but that just can't be the way it works. So if anyone has, at this point, any special election periods and wants to give me any feedback on what their experience was on the exchange or wants me to assist in that enrollment, I'd be happy to do that, because that way I can certainly tell you what to expect. And Joe says, any suggestions on enrolling someone in a dental plan after they have enrolled in a medical plan? And any confirmation that we can get paid on dental? Dental insurance is going to be for sale year-round. So I would say for all of those people that expressed interest in dental and that you sold a health plan on the FFM or even off, that might be a good opportunity to reach out to them and see if they want to purchase a dental plan. The commissions vary so much for each carrier, so Joe, I can get you some more detailed information on dental commissions. But they do pay commissions. So again, another source of income. So we can all thank Joe for pointing that out. And Hosty says, for individual insurance, are the old policies going to be canceled? And that's really what we're trying to find out now about the grandmothering of these plans. Again, I don't have anything in writing, but Capital did say that they were going to extend their individual plans. It's just that I don't know the dates on how long they can keep those plans. And the other carriers are still trying to decide and get something in writing that I can share with you. At this point, I just have nothing to share on that, nothing in writing. So it's all speculation and hearsay at this point. So let's see. Bill says, is the process for commissions improving with the carriers? Well, Bill, I'd like to say yes, but I can tell you that they're working through all of these enrollments, and the commissions are trickling in, but it's really tied into how fast a carrier can get these enrollments through, whether it's on exchange or off exchange, how fast they can generate bills, how fast that bill is paid by the insured and posted, and then commissions are released. So there's a lot of things that go into when the commissions are paid, but generally speaking, we are starting to see commissions. We're still seeing commissions from 1-1 cases. We've seen 2-1 cases, some 3-1 cases, not many, but the general rule is it's about a 2-month delay, if not more. So it's about all I can say on that is that they're working through them, and if you feel like you should have been paid and you weren't, please reach out to us. We'll certainly track those commissions down. Tracy says that she heard that if you do not get a refund from your tax return, you will not be subject to the fine. Do you know if that's true? And Tracy, I do know. I've heard that as well, that, you know, if there is a tax penalty for not having individual insurance and that particular person doesn't get a refund, what's the recourse? And the IRS has clearly stated already that they're not really going to be going after these people. So I have heard that same thing. Whether that comes to fruition and whether they figure it all out before tax season in 2015 for the 2014 year, who knows? I would hope that they would figure something out. But until then, I would agree with your statement. If they have no refund, there's nothing they can pull from. And Sean says, can you provide a commission spreadsheet for limited medical plans, short-term medical, and dental? Yes, I can do that, Sean. I'm writing these down, so I'll get that to you. And Colleen says, break a leg tonight, Deb. Well, that's very nice. I probably will break a leg. Literally, break a leg. But thank you, Colleen. And Bill says, he has a client that will lose COBRA on 5/31. Application is complete, but enrollment is locked. Was told by the marketplace that we can call in on 5/30 and get it unlocked for a 6/1 effective date. I told them client wouldn't get cards for about 3 weeks, and they agreed that that needed to be changed. Yeah. Yeah, see, that's frustrating. It's frustrating for all of us. Why would they have to wait until May 30th to even make application? Just doesn't make sense. But Bill, I will check further into that because that's just not going to work. Hopefully they'll change that. And it looks like those are the last of the questions. I'll give it a few seconds more if anybody else has any questions. Again, thank you so much for all of the business that you've submitted to us throughout the enrollment period. Thanks for your support, and I hope all of you that celebrate the Easter weekend or are celebrating Passover have a wonderful and blessed weekend. Enjoy the weather, and have a great weekend. Goodbye.